movie studios. You know the ones that I'm talking about. Warner Brothers, Disney, Sony, Universal. They've all had a long history since their formation. They definitely have a long history when it comes to really bad decisions. So, in this video, I'm going to be talking about some of the studio's worst mistakes they have ever made. Now, obviously, this isn't to say that the companies are bad themselves, but just to really hone in on how ridiculous those decisions reflect on how really bad they are. Because even a fifth grader could see how really dumb they've been. And of course, first up, we have the biggest loser of them all, Warner Brothers. Why on earth did you think it was a good idea to merge with Discovery? Okay? I don't understand the appeal. It's like if you took the Food Network and smushed it in with Sony or Universal. Like, why? I don't understand. And then it turned out to be one of the worst decisions ever because this led to millions of layoffs and nuking hundreds of Cartoon Network shows as tax write-offs. And plus a bunch of other scrapped movie ideas that honestly were valid, others not. I'm specifically talking about Coyote versus Acme. I have no idea why you would scrap that. But in recent years, Warner Brothers has really been the laughing stock. You really, if this is how you want to be remembered as somebody who just doesn't care about animation or their properties, and I'm definitely going to be digging into some of these studios about how they've really treated some of the properties that they have in their possession. When it comes to video games, Warner Brothers has also done a really bad job of making those video games, especially Kill the Justice League. I have practically no words of encouragement, or there's just nothing at all. It's nothing. Kill the Justice League is a nothing burger filled with lots of mud and dirt and everything in between. And of course, we can't forget about the really sad fall of Multiverses, which could have been one of the best crossover fighting games ever made. Except they fell. They fumbled so hard. The roster sucks. There were so many balancing issues with it. You had everything. You had the perfect amount of sustenance for gamers to literally eat that good meal, and then you just throw it away. And then you shut down player first games. Like, I don't, it's practically synonymous that Warner Brothers has really had a bad rep in the past 2 years. And that's including the Snyderverse. There's really no way to recover from that. Honorable mention, Lunatics Unleashed. Anyway, let's move on to Disney. I can make an entire video about how Disney have messed up big time. But I think the number one thing that I have at the top of my list is very very personal. Why on earth did you fire James Gunn? James Gunn practically gave you one of the best movie trilogies to ever come out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And then you threw it all away. You threw him out over a tweet. I get it. You don't want to be in the controversial airspace or whatever. You don't want to get under more scrutiny and more fire. Oh no, Disney World is on fire. Anyways, in the olden days, in the Disney Renaissance era, there was a man named Jeffrey Katzenberg, and there was the CEO of Disney, Michael Eisner, who chose somebody else over him. Guess what happened? That guy went to make DreamWorks, one of the greatest animation studios to ever exist. You practically shot yourself in the foot yet again, Disney. Just all Jeffrey wanted was to be promoted. All he wanted was recognition of the work he has done, and you couldn't even give him that. How greedy can you possibly be? Disney definitely has a sequel and a remake problem. They need to stop it. They need to stop making these live action remakes and making more sequels to beloved franchises. Okay? Toy Story 3 was the perfect ending. Why didn't you just let it end? Why didn't you just leave it off? But no, 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 no. You just had to make another one. And here we are again, making the same thing again. And if you're going to complain that people aren't going to come see the originals, how about you first look at your writing team and come up with better ideas? I know it's not going to be pretty, but I know you have the capabilities to do it. So, Disney, I'm looking at you right now. You have the opportunity to stop with all the sequels and remakes, because all you're going to be doing is ruining those franchises. And that's not all you're going to be ruining, because you single-handedly ruined two of the best franchises of all time, because you wanted to send a message rather than tell a good story. Look how that turned out. You say you want we want the male audience back. We need to cater towards the men again. When that's been the exact opposite of what you have been preaching in every single show, movie, everything. It's not that hard. Separate fiction from reality. Separate it. That's all you need to do. Obviously, you can have You can cherry pick all these themes that do apply to real life. Yes, you can do that. That's obviously one of the things you need to do when you're telling a good story. You can pick the themes that go along with your story, but that also doesn't mean you have to practically hammer it over and over and over again. Anyways, that's all I'm going to say about Disney. Sony. The first thing I'm going to be talking about is, of course, the worst animated movie of all time. Why on earth did the Emoji Movie have to exist? It didn't. It really didn't. But you just had to. You had to twist the bottle of a cork and let it explode into the jet stream of mud, the slop. It's disgusting. It's actually disgusting. I hate it. I hate it so much. And you chose that over two good ideas? Two movies that could have really made you money? A Popeye animated movie would have been great if it was done correctly. And why did you scrap the concept of Medusa? Medusa would have sold very well. That would have been a great story. The only thing you didn't do was cancel K-pop Demon Hunters, and I hope you've learned your lesson, Sony. Also, stop butchering the Spider-Man franchise already. You need to like revoke your rights for handling the property. Of course, I'm only talking about the live action stuff that Sony has made with the Spider-Man IP. I'm not talking about the Spider-Verse. That's the only exception. Okay? You can keep the Spider-Verse. Anyways, the last one I'm going to be talking about is Universal. And right here I have oiling up DreamWorks for nostalgia bait, because that's exactly what Universal has done. Kung Fu Panda 4 did not need to exist. It could have been good. It could have been great. But no. You just had to capitalize on Jack Black's popularity. And it went into a dumpster fire. Not only that, but you're trying to reboot other old franchises that practically are dead. Megamind is a cult classic. You did not need to make another movie. And please, for the love of God, Shrek 5 does not need to exist either. I'm sorry. It does not. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was perfect. It was perfect. And the Bad Guys was decent. Not the second one, though. The second one was, it was kind of mid. One last thing for Universal. Please, 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 please stop milking Despicable Me. I'm tired of seeing the copy and paste story of Despicable Me, of having just 80% screen time of the minions making annoying jokes that aren't funny, and Gru just being a washed up villain. They could have stopped at 1 or 2, but no, they just had to make 3 and 4. All right. I think I've said what I've needed to say. Ugh.